Hey, this is Deepesh, and in this video, I want to take you through the CPA, the cost per acquisition calculator, which I created to help visualize how to look at your conversion metric and your cost per click, because they're the two factors that come into play to influence what your cost per acquisition is. So you can work on both sides of the equilibrium. So you can work on increasing your conversion rate, whether that's generating a lead or a purchase or a registration, or you can work on your cost per click, and reducing or increasing both of those makes a huge difference to your cost per acquisition. So this is not looking at return on ad spend. Return on ad spend is driven by your CPA and AOV. This is actually to do with the CPA. So even if you are looking to influence your return on ad spend, the CPA makes a huge difference as well. So, with the ROAS, you're looking at the average order value and CPA. This is looking at the level below. So this should apply whether you're doing an app install, any kind of registration, any kind of lead gen, any kind of purchase as well. So let's just jump straight into how to use this calculator. So the way I've set this up is in this section, you're expected to put in your current average CPC. So if you don't know what that is, if you're still starting off, then you'll have to use some kind of estimate here. But what you can do is just put your estimate in for a period of time. So it could be last 7 days, last 30 days, etc. Just take an average because you want to work out what your boundaries are for your CPA using this method. So let's say our current CPC is 1.5. This is there is no monetary term here, so you can put any kind of metric in. You can put your numbers in here. Let's say our site conversion rate is currently at 3%. So then if we put our target acquisition costs, we can put maybe, I don't know, $25 there. So what this section does here is says, based on a 1.5, and let's just use dollars for the sake of argument, based on a $1.5 cost per click and a 3% conversion rate, your calculated cost per acquisition is actually £50. So up here you can see the calculations, and what it's doing is taking the cost per click and dividing it by the conversion rate, and that gives you your CPA. So then the question is, how do I get my CPA down? And this is what it's all about. If you look at the grid here, right in the middle, the 50 has been highlighted, so that's what you're currently getting. And if you look up here and you read up and down, that is looking at the effect of decreasing or potentially increasing your CPC. So if we read across here, for that £50, we have a 1.5, so $1.5 CPC. Now, if we were able to reduce that down to literally half, so 0.75 of a dollar or 75 cents, then we'd actually hit our target of $25 cost per acquisition. So just simply by halving our cost per click, changing nothing in the sales journey, doing no kind of optimization on the site, you can get your CPA down, and that's a huge difference. Yes, it's 50% here, but the magnitude of those numbers just don't seem to stand out. Here, if you look at that from 50 to 25, that's literally doubling your profits potentially just by dropping your CPC. So within the training, there's strategies for doing so and doing graduation testing, bringing your cost per click down by working on your audiences and your creative. The cost per click is highly correlated with the relevance score. So the higher the relevance score, the lower the cost per click. Is something that's built into the auction as a way of rewarding you for your great content. So one of the key ways of getting cost per click down is to focus on your creative, your targeting, and make sure that your ad is as engaging as possible. And actually, it's doable. You could literally halve your CPC by doing creative refreshes, creative testing, trying different creatives, maybe just trying little tweaks on your audiences to try and get a better CPC. Bear in mind, there may be an impact on your conversion rates. That's something you need to absolutely balance as well. Now, if, for example, you're using manual bidding and you're bidding in a technique which is kind of looking at fast growth or aggressive growth, you're more than likely going to be bidding a lot higher than your CPA target, which also generally ends up being with your cost per click also increasing, as well as your conversion rate increasing as well. And what this grid allows you to do is just see what the impact of that would be. So There aren't any green bars here, but for example, if I went up to $1.80 and I had a green here, then I could say, right, my conversion rate needs to be up here. So you can see quite clearly there is a potential to bring my CPA down just by working on the cost per click. Now, if you look at the area at the top, it's the conversion rate, and you read across and you look at kind of where can I get back into the green. Well, actually, just based on this graph, I would need to be converting a lot higher to get my cost per click within range. What's the minimal I can do, or what's the kind of area here at the end that I can do to get my cost per acquisition profitable? Well, if I hit a 4.83% conversion rate at the $1.20 cost per click, then I'd be within range. So it just gives you an idea here. If I had a slight improvement on my CPC, but made a drastic improvement on my conversion rate, then I can also get within my CPA target. Now, in reality, getting your conversion rate higher, it could be easier. In other cases, it may be harder. And it's just kind of, it depends on the maturity of your products, your funnel, how much testing you've put in. If you're getting 3% and you've not tested your funnel, yet you've done a lot of work on your Facebook ads, then it's probably a good time to really focus in on your landing page testing, optimization, your funnels, looking at user replays, your analytics, and seeing if you can actually squeeze more performance out of it as well. Now, let's say we are down to $1.20 in our CPC now, and we're still converting at 3%. You can see I'm still off my target. I still need to work that conversion rate harder. We do some testing and conversion rate has gone up to 3.5%. We're getting closer, but actually I need to get my CPC lower or my conversion rate higher to get back into the green here. Now, let's say, for example, this is a different product and I have a $34 CPA target. Now, all of a sudden, I can see a lot more range here in terms of being able to hit my target. So this is kind of just something to play around with to get an idea of where you need to focus your attention. The spreadsheet is available as part of the training portal, so make a copy of it. You can't edit this master because obviously it will impact everyone else's version. Make a copy of it and just use it for your analysis. So if you're planning your targets, key in your targets here. We've got a client currently on $2 and they're converting at 7% and the target is 25. So I know here, for example, I need to get that CPC down or I need to push that conversion rate higher, and it becomes really difficult then to play in that kind of space. And we know when we're doing well, we're hitting $1.20 in our CPAs, and although at the same time our conversion rate drops as well. So that's kind of where we're at with our benchmark. So generally with this e-commerce store, we hit 6% conversion, we hit a 1.2 or $1.20 cost per click, and we're generally in the green. And I also know how far we are from hitting the red as well. So just keep an eye on how you're performing. Just check in with this spreadsheet if you just need to visualize it a bit better in terms of how you're doing and what you need to be working on to get the best out of your performance.